Hello, beloved. It's that time of week when we read together from sacred reading. We do a little practice which leads us perhaps to hear even more deeply what Spirit may be speaking into our lives. We do that with a text, a sacred text, but we hope that the practice begins to help us expect and see that Spirit is speaking into our lives all the time, every moment, in little ways. Just the way the sunshine catches a leaf one day might awaken us to some reality. The way that the sound of the rain strikes us on a day. A sudden sense of peace that comes over us in a moment, and we realize that in some way, Spirit is moving in us and touching us in our deepest heart. And so we read a text, a sacred text. We listen carefully for what it may echo into our lives. It may be a word, it may be a phrase, it may be an image that rises for us. Now, when I do a sacred reading by myself, I read usually the text I've chosen 3 times aloud, with a pause in between each time, listening as deeply as I can. And I read it aloud because doing so engages my body, not just my mind, but my whole body. The diaphragm contracts and pushes the air up through and over my larynx that vibrates and makes these sounds that are shaped by my mouth. When you are doing the speaking, you hear the vibration even inside your head, and you can also hear the vibrations on your ears. It's an opportunity to live in an embodied way and to listen for what the text may speak. All of the texts, the biblical texts, originally existed as stories that were told aloud. And so when we say them aloud, we give them life, and perhaps they give us life as well. So today we are looking together at 1 John. We're getting near the end of 1 John. We're in chapter 5. Today we're looking at verses 13 through 15. And I invite you to calm down wherever you are, perhaps sit down, listen with your heart. Listen with the ears of your heart. Slow down. Remove any of the distractions that may exist wherever you are in this moment, and focus on these words. Perhaps a word or a phrase or an image will rise for you, or something else altogether. But listen and trust that Spirit is speaking. Listen for a word from the Lord. I have written these things to you who trust in the name of Creator's Son, so that you may know you have the life of the world to come that never fades away, full of beauty and harmony. We can be sure that if we ask anything of the Great Spirit that is in harmony with His will, He will hear us. If we know that He hears us, then we know we have whatever we have asked of Him. When I think about this world to come, having been raised in a congregation, in a church, the world to come was always, I sort of assumed that it referred to something we have traditionally called heaven. Whatever that heaven looks like, and none of us really know. But when I hear a world to come and beauty and harmony, I wondered for a moment, what rose for me is this possible here? Not in some place yet to come, but here. I echo back to the words of the Lord's Prayer, where we ask in prayer for the kingdom to come on earth, and God's will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. So I wonder, as I listen to this, is there a way that I'm being called? Perhaps you're being called as well as you listen to this text. Is there a way I'm called to work in such a way in the moment I have right now, so that beauty and harmony in the world to come would be in this world, but not yet? That if I lay the foundation now, if I work at this now, if I entrust myself to Spirit now, work alongside of Creator in this world, to look to see what Creator's already doing and join with Creator in doing that. If when I do that, if the world to come isn't the world that's not quite, but could become real in this world, in this life, that's what rose in me as I thought about the world to come, because, I felt the twinges of the Sunday school child James hearing those words, and would have immediately thought of punching my ticket to heaven. And maybe that's what you hear. And if that is, hey, I'm not dissing that. I respect you for that position. But for me, that position has changed some. It has expanded some from what I thought it was. And the world to come is possible here. I believe in a Creator's Son who made an appearance here, so that we might see what the kingdom, the world to come, might look like, even here and now. So I felt the call, the tug, the not yet, but moving in that direction of beauty and harmony. It might be difficult to see beauty and harmony when we look around ourselves in the world and read the news and those things. But I think that's our call, not to blindly, idealistically look at the world and imagine, wow, it's going to get better all of its own, but instead to be a person of action, to seek to bring harmony and beauty into all of the relationships I have with people, with the world, with the things that dwell in my possession, in all the places I find myself, and even a beauty and harmony with myself. That's what I hear echoes of and a call to in this passage. So I invite you to listen to the text, perhaps to read it again for yourself, and as you do, to listen for what it might be saying to you. Again, it's 1 John chapter 5, verses 13 through 15. Until the next time, I wish you all the best. Remember, you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you already are. Thanks for joining me for some sacred reading today.